The palace halls of the Astra Dominion shimmered with quiet energy as the human envoy walked behind a pair of towering guards. His name was Rowan. He carried himself with calm steps and an unreadable face. The air held the faint scent of metal and unknown flowers. Above him ran patterns of glowing vines across the walls, shifting color each time he passed through their shadow. Rowan had spent months on this world as a simple observer. Humans rarely stepped inside the inner domains of the Astra, yet the Queen herself had permitted him to remain. No one understood the reason. Many thought it was political strategy. Others believed the Queen wished to study human resolve. A few whispered that the Queen saw something in Rowan that even she could not explain. Across the halls the Queen waited on her throne. Her name was Leora. Her silver eyes were steady and bright like cold stars. Her long crest of dark blue shimmered as she shifted. She ruled her people with thoughtful strength. She rarely smiled. She rarely trusted. She rarely allowed anyone near her except her personal guard and her young child. Her realm had faced war for decades. Her people had survived by discipline and will. Emotion was controlled. Attachment was measured. Bonds were rare. Yet when Rowan entered, something changed in the rhythm of the throne room. Leora watched him step forward. His posture was straight. His hands folded behind him. There was no fear in his gaze. Humans were known for many things: recklessness, instinct, sudden resolve, impossible endurance. Yet Rowan carried himself with quiet steadiness, as if he had walked through storms far worse than political halls. The Queen spoke in a low tone. Her voice carried the echo of command. "Rowan, you were asked to attend because the Council believes your assistance may be required. Scouts report strange movements near the border." Rowan nodded once. "Tell me how I may help." Leora studied him for a long moment. She found herself unsettled by his calm acceptance. Most envoys stalled or asked for resources. This human simply agreed. Before she could continue, soft footsteps echoed across the chamber. A small figure rushed in. A child, no more than 5 cycles old by Astra measure. Their crest shimmered with soft lavender light. Their bright violet eyes searched the room until they found the Queen.Mother.Liora softened slightly. She gestured for the child to approach. "Come here. We are in council." The child looked around, searching. Then their gaze settled on Rowan. At once their face lit with recognition. They hurried toward him in small steps and stopped right before him. Rowan smiled faintly, lowering himself to meet the child's eyes. "Hello there. You should be careful. The Queen is in session." The child ignored the mild warning. Their hands reached toward him with complete trust. "Father." The hall fell silent. Every guard stiffened. Several advisors inhaled sharply. Leora herself froze for a fraction of a breath. Her eyes widened, not with rage, but with shock. Her child had spoken a forbidden word. A word carrying deep meaning. A word the Astra rarely used even among themselves. Rowan blinked. He searched the child's face, trying to understand what they meant. "I am not your father." "I am only a visitor." The child shook their head with gentle certainty. "Father, you stayed when others left. You teach me words. You fix the hover toys. You listen." Whispers rose among the guards. The idea was impossible. A human could not hold such a role. To the Astra, the title carried more than blood. It meant acceptance into a bond of guardianship. It meant the child saw Rowan as someone safe, constant, and irreplaceable. Leora rose from her throne. Her steps were silent, but heavy with authority. The advisors lowered their heads as she walked past them. "Why does my child call you this?" Rowan stood slowly. His voice remained steady. "I did not teach the child to use that word. I only spent time with them because they seemed lonely. Leora's gaze narrowed with confusion rather than anger. You misunderstand. It is not allowed. Children do not choose outsiders. They do not form such ties easily. Rowan glanced at the small figure beside him. They held onto his sleeve as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Maybe your child simply needed someone who listened. Leora's eyes followed the small hand gripping Rowan's sleeve. Something unreadable passed through her expression. She knelt before her child and placed a hand on their shoulder. Little one, why do you call him that? The child blinked with innocent honesty. Because he is the only one who smiles at me without fear. Leora inhaled as if the words had cut deeper than any weapon. She looked around at her court. Every advisor stared at the floor. Every guard remained frozen. It was true. Her people respected her. They respected the child. But they also feared the fragility of the royal line. They feared attachment. They feared loss. They kept distance. For safety. For duty. And Rowan, a human, walked in without caution and treated the child as if they were simply a child instead of a symbol. Leora spoke again in a quiet tone. Guards, leave us. When the chamber emptied, the queen turned to Rowan. Her gaze was no longer sharp. It was searching. You spend much time with my child. Only when invited, Rowan answered. And you never refused. Why would I refuse? She studied him. Humans often ran from responsibility. They ran from danger. They ran from politics. Yet this one stayed. Leora crossed her arms. Humans are strange. You show concern without reason. You protect without command. You give without promise. My people distrust such traits. Rowan let out a slow breath. Maybe the child needed someone who wasn't afraid. And why are you not afraid? Because fear doesn't help anyone. Leora watched him closely. She felt something tighten inside her, something she thought she had lost long ago. She had given everything to protect her throne, her people, and her child. She had no room left for trust. Yet this quiet human had walked past every boundary. The child tugged Rowan's sleeve again. Will you stay? Rowan looked at Leora. The queen hesitated before answering. He will stay for now. Days turned to weeks. Tension rose along the borders of the Dominion. Threats from beyond the nebula grew bold. The queen spent long hours in war rooms. Rowan continued assisting however he could, offering insights from human strategy. Surprisingly, the Astra officers began to respect him. They saw the value in human perspective. But the bond between Rowan and the child only deepened. The child clung to him during lessons. They mimicked his gestures. They laughed at his attempts to pronounce Astra words. They held his hand without hesitation. Leora watched all of it from the shadows of palace halls. One night, the queen found Rowan seated in a quiet garden behind the palace. A child slept against his side, wrapped in a light cloak. Stars shimmered above them in brilliant webs of color. Leora approached him slowly. Her voice was softer than usual. You are becoming significant to my child. Rowan nodded. I did not intend it. Intent is irrelevant. It has happened. Rowan touched the child's back gently, ensuring they remained asleep. They needed comfort. Leora's gaze deepened. You speak as if you understand what it means to protect a young one. Rowan's jaw tightened. Perhaps I used to. The queen caught the flicker of pain in his eyes. You lost someone. Rowan did not look away. Yes. Lior sat beside him, leaving a respectful distance. My people do not speak easily of grief. To lose is to weaken. To humans, Rowan said. To speak of loss is to heal. Leora looked at him for a long moment. Rowan, your presence has changed more than you realize. Before she could continue, alarms echoed through the palace. Both of them rose instantly. The child stirred and clung to Rowan's arm. Leora placed a hand on the child's head to calm them. "Stay behind me." But the danger was already near. A blast shook the distant walls. Guards sprinted into the garden's majesty. "The enemy has breached the shield." Rowan stepped forward. "What do you need me to do?" Leora stared at him. Her decision came quickly. "Protect my child." Rowan nodded, lifting the small figure into his arms. He ran with 2 guards guiding him toward a secure chamber. Explosions rumbled behind him. The child buried their face in his shoulder. Rowan shielded them with steady arms, moving through smoke and trembling ground. But before they reached the safe room, the corridor collapsed. Fire and sparks blocked the path. The guards were separated. Rowan stood alone with the child. As enemy drones hovered down the hall, the child trembled in his arms. Rowan lowered them gently and positioned himself between them and the drones. He glanced around. Only fallen debris. Only shattered metal. No weapon. He picked up a broken shard of guard armor. Its edge glowed faintly with internal energy. He held it like a blade. The drones fired. Rowan moved with human speed, faster than the machines expected. He ducked, rolled, and slashed through their wiring. Sparks burst across the hallway. One drone fell. Another aimed for the child. Rowan surged forward, placing his body between the blast and the child. Pain seared his arm, but he did not falter. He swung the armor shard and cut through the drone before the second shot could fire. When the danger passed, he turned and knelt before the child. His voice shook slightly from the pain. "Are you hurt?" The child shook their head. Rowan smiled despite the burn on his arm. "Good. Stay behind me." Before long, Leora and her guards reached them. Her eyes widened at the sight of Rowan standing protectively before her child. The broken shard in his hand and scorch marks across his arm. Leora whispered a singleless breath. Human. Her child ran to her, but pointed immediately at Rowan. "He saved me. Father saved me." The Queen looked at Rowan. Her expression broke for the first time. She walked toward him slowly. "Rowan, she?"